So we have a new comedy in our hands. Is it worth watching? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of The Blackening, the newest film from director Tim Story. So The Blackening is a new horror comedy. It's about a group of friends who travel to a remote cabin in the middle of the woods, as they do in horror comedies. And basically, they come across this board game called The Blackening, which has a very interesting piece in the middle, which is a character in blackface. So it's very much instilling upon the whole idea of like African American culture and how they are treated and so on and so on and so forth. So in the process, like in Saw in a lot of respects, they have to make decisions from a unknown killer, and that unknown killer gives them time. They have to make the decisions against that time, and it starts to open up like rifts between the different people and how they play out. And of course, these characters are all tropes. So one is like, the gay friend, one is the kind of a straight-laced person, the other is kind of, the boyfriend who causes tension. We have the nerdy character. It's all these characters are thrown into the mix, and certain things start happening because this has a Scream-like twist. A twist happens, and so on and so forth. So basically, it's a look into how the African American community is treated when it comes to not only film, but when it comes to society in general, and the kind of looks and appearances and stuff like that. So that's kind of what the movie's about. And on top of that, it's a horror comedy, so it's very raunchy, it's rated R, it's all that good stuff. So Lionsgate as a whole at this point has been putting out pretty good films this year. They are like the A24 of this year, where the films that I've seen from them, there may have been like one or two that haven't been great, but for the most part, they've been putting out some pretty good bangers. There's a couple films on this list and from Lionsgate that might make my top 10 of the year. It's just been that kind of year for them. But The Blackening looked really funny from the trailer. Like, I love good horror comedies. It doesn't matter who's in it. It just, if it's funny, if it's, entertaining, I go for it. It could be something like The Blackening or something like, Cabin in the Woods, or, whatever it is. I'm really into it because I think they're well done most of the time, and so on and so forth. And so, like I said, this trailer looked funny. It was dealing with tropes that are very much prescient in today's society. And when I got invited to see this movie like a month before this review, I was like, sure, what the heck, I'll go see it. And so with that said, for my review of this movie, it's very, very funny. To be fairly honest, it's actually one of the funniest movies I've seen this year, because it takes the tropes of, African Americans in the world of, like I said, of film and the world of society, and just kind of plays with it, kind of runs with it. It's, it's vulgar, it's violent, it's humorous. It's just everything I love about these types of films when it comes to the horror comedy. And it does it well. All these characters in this movie are absolutely fantastic. They're funny. They're energetic. They play off it very well. They do every horror trope you can imagine in a horror film, and it works to 100%. It's not a perfect film. It does, lead into the end, which I think is just kind of rote at this point. It's the unfortunate nature of doing these types of films. When the reveal happens, it's just like, okay, sure, whatever. But, what you see in the trailer is pretty representative of what you're going to get. And I love that. I love raunchy horror comedies. I love raunchiness, and I love vulgarness. I love that they're willing to go there and, be excessive and just be absolutely insane. And I love the fact that, the stereotypical best friend has a gay friend who's very, very funny and very outgoing, but is also protective of her as a human being. And then you have like the boyfriend who causes the rift, or the ex-boyfriend who comes into the mix. And then, like I said, you have the nerdy character who comes in the mix and is very, very funny, has some very, very funny moments in this movie, and just plays the character very well. And the problem is, some people just might not enjoy the humor, might not enjoy the vulgarness, because, this is a movie that has like the F word said like 100,000 times, and it has, other words that people might find really uncomfortable, and that's perfectly all right if that's how you feel. But just know going in, this might not be your type of movie, because on top of it, dealing with the scenarios of the African American community, it's also dealing with, the raunchiness and vulgarness of what these horror comedies can do. So I mean, if you go into it, liking stuff like, I said, like Cabin in the Woods or something like that, you might enjoy it. But some people just, it's just not their type of, not their type of film in a lot of respects when it comes to horror comedies. But I liked it. I liked everybody in this movie. I think they're all fantastically funny and enjoyable. And for a guy like Tim Story, who I've never been a huge fan of as a director, he kind of just lets these people do what they need to do, lets them kind of go on a roll. There's probably a lot of improvising in this movie. And it's just very, very funny. The idea of this like board game that feels very racist is it's hilarious to look at and very funny, and just how it plays out, and the fact that they use that stereotype of like the killer that has the mask on and you have no idea who it is, like Jigsaw, or you know, the Scream villain or something like that. That's funny stuff, because when the trope plays out and kind of where it goes and how it conditions itself, it becomes really, really unique and really interesting. And like I said, it also plays against a lot of stereotypes and a lot of horror tropes and uses that to its advantage. So this movie overall, I really enjoyed. I had a lot of fun with. Yes, it can be a little one note when it comes to its like comedy and horror, but I was laughing. I mean, this is one of the only time, it's one of the few times I've been to a movie where everybody was laughing so hard that we were in tears. It was great. This is a great film to go watch with a group of people and go watch in a theater, because, you know, it would work on TV or work on video on demand. But I think these types of films, especially horror comedies like this, really work when they're with a group of people in a theater, because it allows that sense of humor that you may not laugh at home to kind of spill out of you. And that's what this movie does. And once again, everybody in this film is just, they're having fun. I love one of the friends who has what happens to him is hilarious and humorous, and just overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I really did. I think it's actually one of the better comedies of this year, and it's something that made me laugh, and I really appreciate that. So overall, I like The Blackening. We'll see where it lands, you know, when it comes to critics, but overall, I enjoyed it. I recommend it, but just go in knowing that this is a very R-rated, very, very hard R type movie. And it shows and it plays, but I think it works. So overall, I really enjoyed it and recommend. So there you go. That'll be my take on The Blackening, the new horror comedy. Is now in theaters. Comments below, you know, let me know what you think. If you watch this movie, what's your favorite horror comedy, all that good stuff. But yeah, thank you so much. If you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top. The fun's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.